Hey, everybody. Yesterday, it started me so quick or so late, actually, that I'm like, am I live? Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just realized as I went live that you can see baby Bumbo down there. So, oh well, I'm just going to leave it. Also, I had to show you this new t-shirt that I got. It says, I will cut you. And it's this like unicorn with this very pointy unicorn horn dagger. I just had to show you guys because I think some of you would like it. I got this from Tea Turtle. They have new t-shirts like every single day. They have lots of cute stuff. And sometimes you can get them pretty cheap, like $7 or $9. So I kind of look for things that are, on sale over there every once in a while. And sometimes I reward myself after a lot of hard work with just some new t-shirts because I love them so much. So I was like, oh, they're going to like this one. So it's just so cute. I love it. Unicorn ice cream cone. That's awesome. Bonin Tagen, Sarah. Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon, Erica. So you guys can see up here, there's a little bit of a change. I can I think, show you a little bit. So I have been working today on my Kanban board, which is my productivity board. And so I've been working on that. I've been recording 2 different videos. I've been recording my day in the life vlog for you guys that'll go up on Sunday. And I've also been recording a video for heart breathing. So it has been a very busy day. So yes, my board has changed. I'm excited. It's got new colors on it. It's ready for spring. I am just trying to continue on with planning and keeping going. Oh, you looked at their t-shirts too. Yeah, they have so many cute ones. Like there are some like Belle, Beauty and the Beast ones, like just so amazing. Evelyn says, how are the cupcakes? So I did post a picture of the cupcakes on my Instagram stories. They were in a mason jar and it was like a parfait, right? So it's got like a little bit of cupcake and then a little bit of icing and strawberry. So mine was strawberry shortcake. And I was expecting it to be, you know how strawberry shortcake is usually just like whipped cream with the cake. So it was vanilla cake with strawberries on top. And then it had cream cheese icing and whipped cream. And when I tasted, I was expecting just the whipped cream, but it was this like delicious cream cheese icing. And I was just like, oh my God, that was so, so good. And I know that I'm going to be going back on bright line eating probably at the beginning of May, which means I'm going to cut out all sugar and flour again. I have an addiction to sugar. I love it so much, but it's also not good for me with PCOS. I know some of my followers have PCOS, so you understand it is very difficult, but I'm going to enjoy sugar for the next week until I have to cut it out. But it's amazing. So it was like a 16-ounce one. My husband's one was Death by Chocolate, and it was also really good. It kind of tasted like a fudge round. It was just so, so good, but he liked mine better. It was really good. It was just lighter because we ate it all. We probably should have only eaten half, but we ate it all. It was insane. So welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I cannot believe it's Friday. It's so crazy that this week has just totally flown by. Oh, Shanna, I'm so sorry that you have it too, but it is nice to know you're not alone. So yes, PCOS sucks. I was diagnosed many, many years ago. And the only time that I've really been able to almost truly cure it for myself was when I was cutting out all flour and sugar, but it's just been really hard to do postpartum. So it's on my Sarra Cannon Instagram account. If it's not still there, then it's, it only stays, but it should still be there for about an hour. You have to kind of go through all my stories from today, but it's just Instagram.com/Sarra Cannon in the stories. And I think it's like 10 or so stories after. So I've been trying to post more on Instagram stories, but because I have 2 accounts, I accidentally posted all my planning stuff on my Sarra Cannon account this morning, but I meant to post it on Heart Breathings, but It's okay. Such is life. It just continues to go on. How are you guys doing? I hope that you're doing really well. Evelyn says, I did keto. Yeah, keto can also be super helpful for PCOS. My doctor warned me away from keto because it's just something that she said can actually disrupt hormones. So I haven't done keto, but I think that it's like paleo was really helpful for a lot of PCOS people. Keto has been really helpful. I think it's really dependent on your body. And truthfully, I think that doctors don't even know what's going to work for you individually. So I say try whatever you can if you have it and try different things. I tried paleo and I felt sick for 6 months, but bright line eating is what I do. And it really, really worked for me. So I'm going back to it, but it's just been really, really tough. So I think bright line is very similar to keto because I think you also cut out sugar in keto, but I don't think you have to cut out all types of flour. So I will not be eating any type of flour, but I can't remember. I don't know all the rules. But anyway, so one thing that I wanted to, you got to do what works for you. It's totally, a personal thing. Obviously, some things work and some things don't. But I wanted to tell you guys a story yesterday before we started, and then I forgot that years and years ago, when I was a fledgling wannabe author, I picked up a book because the cover was so beautiful and I loved the title that was called Wicked Lovely. And I don't know if you've read it. If you've read it, mention it in the comments. So it's definitely amazing. I absolutely loved that book. I loved that whole series. And it's by an author named Melissa Marr. And I looked up to her so much because she was a New York Times bestseller. She's, just amazing writer, amazing imagination. I loved her books. And, she was there like really big and popular when I was just getting started as a writer. So I really looked up to her. And just recently, probably, Erica, you're in that group too. So I think maybe it was probably in the last 6 months or 8 months. Things kind of run together since I've had Evie, but definitely in the last year, Melissa Marr joined a Facebook group that I'm in. That's kind of a small mastermind of a group that I've been a part of for, 5 or 6 years now, or 4 or 5 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. And some of my best friends who write like urban fantasy and stuff like that are in that group. And we talk a lot. And Melissa Marr joined that group. So it was like, oh my gosh, somebody I look up to so much is now in this group with me. And I get to have a personal relationship with her. So that was amazing. Then when we decided to do this anthology, guess who is like in this anthology with me? Melissa Marr. She has a story in this anthology. I have it linked for you down below if you want to check it out. But it's just one of those kind of come full circle kind of things, because 12 years ago, if you had told me someday you're going to be in an anthology with Melissa Marr and you're going to get to talk to her and ask her questions and become friends with her, I would have never believed it, because it would have just been, it just would have been one of those things of like, that's never going to happen. I'll never be at a place where I would be in the same group with her or get to know her. So it's just a little bit of a fun story that she's in the group. I think hers is the very first story. And it was just, I don't know, one of those come full circle sort of moments to get to be in an anthology with an author that you admire so very much. Yes, serendipity is a good word for that. And it just makes me feel like, whatever you truly dream that you can do in your life, believe in yourself that you can do it, because you can. And, back then when I was reading her book, there were a lot of doubts for me. Like, I'll never be a good enough writer. I don't even know what I'm doing. I struggled to sit down and come up with anything. And I remember writing a few words on the page and being like, how do people write novels? I don't even know. This is too hard, And now it's like breathing to me, and it's something I love. And, it's obviously every writer still has a long way to go. We all have so much to learn, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where if you have a dream and you believe in yourself, just move forward, just start doing it. Whether you want to start writing your first book, or you want to start a YouTube channel, or you want to be a doctor, or whatever it is that you want to do in your life, don't sell yourself short. Don't let your fears hold you back, because who knows, like 4 or 5 years from now, you could be in a group with somebody that you admire. You could be in an anthology with them. You could have your books right next to them on the bestseller list. You just never know what's possible. But as long as you try, trust me, you can get there. If you believe in yourself, you can get there. Yes, we definitely all have the same self-doubts, and self-doubt is real no matter what you come from. And especially if you had a less than supportive family unit growing up, sometimes that helps to kind of add self-doubt or hurts, in so many ways. So just my little encouragement for you today, that if you believe in yourself, you can absolutely do it. So you guys are all very sweet. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you feel that way about me. And of course, I feel that way about so many other authors. And I believe in every one of you. I believe that if you have a dream, you can totally make it happen for yourself. So don't hold yourself back. So, all right. So now we're going to read the rest of Ella and the Haunted House. I'm actually going to take these off. And we're going to read the rest of this story. I know that many of you were making guesses in the chat. So if that bothers you, that people are guessing or potentially going to put something out there that might be true, then just feel free to turn your chat off while I'm reading the story and then come back to it afterward. I believe there is a way to hide the chat while I'm reading, so feel free to do that. But if you want to guess, go ahead and guess. If you've already read it, of course, don't put anything out there. And I'm going to talk about the twist in this one because it's a little bit different than what I normally do at the end of this story. So I'm excited to read the rest of this. I hope you were enjoying the first half of it. So this is the second half of Ella and the Haunted House. And it starts with chapter 4, Just a Memory. It takes us about 15 minutes to get all the way down to the pond. We travel through a maze in the garden that is a bit overgrown after all this time. Apparently, there was a groundskeeper who did keep up with it for a while, but when he passed away, the gardens went wild. Somehow, Seth manages to lead us through it without taking any wrong turns. When we emerge, the pond is just steps away through the fog. Wow, how did you know to get us through that? I ask. That was amazing. I have no idea, he says with a laugh. Just lucky, I guess. Very lucky, or maybe it's a terrible maze, I say. Either way, I love it out here. Listen, I stop breathing and take in the absolute silence of the place. I don't hear anything, he whispers. Exactly, I whisper back. He's standing close, and I am so drawn to him, I want to lean in. Before I do, I hike the bag higher on my shoulder and motion toward the pond. Let's set up on this dock area over here, I say, see if anyone joins us. It only takes a few minutes for me to set up a few small cameras and a handheld recorder for taking EVPs. When I'm done, we both sit down, cross-legged, on the cold wooden planks of the old dock. The pond is actually bigger than I expected. Through the darkness and fog, I can't see the other side of it. It just seems to stretch on forever. So, what do we do now? Seth asks. We wait, I say. It could be a while before anything happens. In ghost terms, it's still relatively early in the night. Is that right? He says with a smile. Do they have some kind of curfew or something? I shrug. Who knows, really? My dad was the best ghost hunter in the business, and he was never fully convinced that all ghosts were only active at night. He said a lot of the encounters that were most meaningful to him happened in the middle of the day. He had a theory about certain kind of ghosts being trapped in the night, though, unable to ever see the dawn. Encounters? Seth asks. You mean your dad actually saw ghosts? Tons of them, according to the stories he used to tell. I reach for the photo Kenneth gave me, and my heart breaks again at the sight of my father, looking so young and alive. God, I miss him so much. It's hard for me to believe he's really been gone 7 years now. How have I survived so long without him? Seth scoots toward me to get a better look. He loved you very much. How can you tell? I ask. It's in his eyes there, he says, the way he's looking at you, like you're in his entire world. For the second time tonight, I wipe away the tears that threaten to fall. I never cry, but something about my 18th birthday is really getting to me. I'm sorry, Seth says. I didn't mean to upset you. No, it's fine, I say, sniffling like an idiot as I put the photo away. I decide not to mention it's my birthday, but in the next breath, I find myself telling him anyway, like I can't quite control myself around him. Your birthday, really? Seth lights up. That's wonderful. Why aren't you out celebrating? Surely you didn't choose to spend your birthday here in this sad place with a bunch of ghosts, right? I laugh. Honestly, that sounds like the best birthday ever, I say. Unlike my father, I've never actually seen a ghost. To see one tonight of all nights would mean the world to me. Why is that? I'm sharing too much, but I can't stop myself. This is going to sound crazy, but the first time my dad saw a ghost was on the night of his 18th birthday, I say. He claims something awakened inside him that night, some kind of special ability to see and talk to ghosts. I know it sounds nuts, but when I was little, I used to dream that the same thing would happen to me. I think that's why I worked so hard to convince Mom, to come here tonight. Dad always wanted to visit this place. He had a feeling there were a lot of spirits trapped here after what happened. He believed he could help them cross, I think. Seth doesn't say a word, and I know I've crossed a line, shared too much. No one ever really believes me when I say my dad could see ghosts, that he could talk to them. But I know it's true. You think I'm crazy? I ask. I don't, Seth says, but he's suddenly distant. It's okay. No one believes me anyway. I believe you, he says, locking eyes with me. But then he seems to look past me. His lips part slightly and his eyes widen. Maybe we'll see a few ghosts tonight after all. Look. I turn around, my heart racing. There's movement in the distance, but it's so dark and foggy that it's hard to make out exactly what it is. I quickly grab for my thermal camera and hit record. Here, hold this and take a few pictures if you can, I say. Let me know if you see anything interesting. I hand the camera to Seth, and as his fingers brush mine, chills run through my body. The energy out here is insane. I can hardly believe this is really happening. Someone is here. I can feel it, I say. I grab the EVP recorder and slip my headphones on. Hello, I say clearly. I'm Ella. I just want to talk. Is anyone there? I pause and listen, but no one answers. Hello? Is anyone there? Nothing at first, but after a moment, static comes through the headphones. It gets louder, and my whole body feels like it's lit up from the inside. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. What's your name? I ask, pointing the recorder toward the place where I saw movement. I don't even breathe as I listen for a response. Jennifer, a voice whispers. It's so faint, I'm not even sure it's real. I turn to Seth, my eyes probably wider than they've ever been. Did you hear that? I ask in a whisper. He shakes his head, and I point to my headphones. She answered me. She said Jennifer. I think that's the name of the prince's youngest daughter. There are literally chills all over my body. Jennifer, thank you for talking to me, I say. Can you tell me what happened to you here? Why are you still here after all this time? Are you stuck here? There's no answer for a long time. And then, very faintly, a voice finally responds. You shouldn't be down here, she whispers, her voice clearer this time. You need to go. Why, I ask. Why do I need to go? But it's too late. I can feel the energy shift already. Behind me, Seth drops the thermal camera and takes a step back. I practically dive after the camera, catching it just before it bounces off the dock and rolls into the water. I'm so sorry, he says as he sits down again, his body shaking. It's okay. His hands are trembling too. I pull the headphones off and just sit with him for a minute. Did you hear her? She was really here. I heard her, he says. He's obviously shaken. Maybe we should go. I shake my head. I don't think she was really talking to us. There are different kinds of hauntings. One is sometimes called a loop, where a spirit is kind of stuck in the never ending loop, replaying something that happened to them, I say. Some people believe that when that happens, it's not an actual ghost. They think it's more like an energy signature, like the memory of something was stamped on this place so strongly that it's still happening. Is that what you think that was? Just a memory? I'm not sure, I say. I run my hands along my arms, trying to warm myself up from the chill of fear that just hijacked my entire body. Maybe we should go somewhere else just in case, he says. Okay, I'll pack up. Seth looks scared, and I can't really blame him. I've been going to haunted houses ever since I can remember, so sometimes I feel like I'm immune to fear. But what just happened scared me. I can only imagine what it was like for someone who had never done this before. Where else do you want to go? Inside? I'm supposed to keep him away from the investigation, but there are a few places in the house I don't think Trina will bother with. Those should be safe. Yeah, if you don't mind, he says. I'm sorry. You must think I'm a wimp. I start walking back toward the maze. Not at all, I say. Encountering the paranormal for the first time can be both strange and terrifying. You kept it together better than most people, trust me. Thanks, he says. As we approach the maze, I ask him to wait just a second. I want to check in with Kenneth at base camp really quick. Let him know that we might have gotten something really good out here. But when I try to turn on my walkie-talkie, the battery is completely dead. I try my backup, but it's dead too. Dang. What's wrong? I just checked all of these batteries before I came here tonight, and Kenneth checked them when I got here. Everything was working fine, I say. The energy from that encounter must have messed with my power. I consider taking Seth back to base camp with me just to get fresh batteries and give an update, but the honest truth is that I am really enjoying spending time with Seth alone. If I go back and tell Kenneth what we saw, he might want to get Trina down here to investigate. My time alone with Seth will be over at that point, and Trina will probably be pissed at me for interrupting her time with Roger Cruz. I decided to make do without walkies. I still have plenty of other equipment to use before I absolutely have to go back. What do we want to do then? Seth asks. Do you need to get more batteries or something? I shake my head and walk into the maze, hoping Seth will be able to lead us through again. Nah, it'll be fine, I say. Besides, it's fun doing this on our own, isn't it? Just the two of us? He smiles and follows me inside. To be honest, it's the most fun I've had in years. Chapter 5, I Want This Night to Last Forever. Seth and I spend the next several hours exploring places inside the house the TV crew totally ignored. I have a map of where they set up their cameras, and it's such a massive house, we're able to avoid them fairly easily. They're focusing most of their attention on the ballroom, the parlor, and the bedrooms on the second floor. So Seth and I head for the third floor, the basement, and the kitchen. As the hours pass, we share stories about our lives and what we've been through, our hobbies and our fascinations. Never in my life have I had so much fun talking to a guy before. There's something about him that is so sincere and real. You don't seem at all like some celebrity brat, I say. No offense. Thanks, I think, he says with a laugh. I just mean you're not at all what I expected tonight. I can't help but blush as I say it. It's only been a few hours, really, but I've never felt so connected to anyone so quickly. He just seems to get me in a way most people don't. You're not what I was expecting tonight either. I laugh. Well, considering that you were probably expecting someone more like Drew and Anna, I'm going to take that as a major compliment. The steps to the third floor are steep, and I nearly stumble near the top. Seth quickly takes my hand, and another shock passes through me. I jerk away faster than I mean to, and he clears his throat. Sorry, he says. No, it's okay, I say. It seems like every time we touch, you shock me. Lots of static electricity in here or something. Must be something like that, he says. Well, this is probably the last area we'll get to explore before dawn, I say, and I'm surprised how sad I feel at the thought. When Trina told me I would be babysitting some kid tonight, I thought I'd be begging for dawn. Instead, I want this night to last forever. Seth is quiet too, as we set up the equipment in one of the empty rooms at the end of the hall. Apparently, a lot of these rooms up here were servants' quarters, I say. The chef, the gardener, the maid, they all lived up here. The kids spent a lot of time up here too, Seth says, or so I've read. Maybe to get away from their dad, I say with a shudder. Can you imagine growing up with such a monster in the house? And all that time, no one knew what that poor family was going through. It was awful, he says, shaking his head. You had an abusive dad too, I ask. I realize that even though we've been sharing stories all night, he's hardly shared anything about his childhood. Maybe I've accidentally stumbled on some terrible memories. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry. We don't have to talk about that if you don't want to. It's okay, he says. I think we have a lot more in common than you realize. You're living with a monster too, only no one looking in can see it. To them, you have a dream life. It was the same with me and my family for a long time. Seth grows quiet, and I'm not sure whether to press him about what happened or just let it go. We don't have much time left together, and I don't want to ruin it by talking about things that make him sad. At least you had an amazing father, he says. It seems like he was pretty special to you. He was my everything, I say, choking back the sadness that seems to overwhelm me every time I allow myself to think of him. My mom died when I was a baby, so for a long time it was just the two of us. He didn't always take me on ghost hunts when I was really little, so sometimes he would leave me at my aunt's house. But after I begged him enough, he finally gave in and started taking me on the road with him. Those were some of the best years of my life. You went ghost hunting with him? I nod. I mostly stayed in the base camp area with Kenneth, and half the time I'd fall asleep before midnight anyway. But I had so much fun being with them, at least until Dad met Trina. That's when everything changed. Only, like you said, I'm not allowed to tell anyone just how bad it is. You're the first person I've really talked to about her. And if you ever told them what I said, you can trust me, he says. I take a deep breath. I haven't trusted anyone in a long time. These days, I can't even fully trust Kenneth because he relies on Trina for a job. I wanted to like her, I say. At first, she was pretty nice to me. I think deep down, she knew that if she treated me poorly, she'd lose Dad. She knew he'd choose me every time if she pressed him. So when he was still alive, she was nice to me anytime he was around. I groan as I think of those early days. I was so young at the time, and I didn't fully understand what was happening. My whole world was being turned upside down, but Dad insisted this was my chance to have a real mother. I wanted to believe it. Long story short, I could never really warm up to her or her daughters the way Dad wanted me to, I say. And then he was in that car accident, and he died and left me with them. The tears I am constantly holding back begin to stream down my face. She's awful, I whisper, and what she's done to this show is just a tragedy. He wanted me to take over, you know that? He always told me he wanted me to do the show if he ever passed away, but I guess he never had anything official in writing. When he died, the contract passed to Trina, and she convinced the producers that she could make it bigger and better. And according to the ratings, that's exactly what she did, but it's a joke. She ruined everything he used to stand for. Seth moves closer to me. It's going to get better, he says. You're going to move out soon, right? You said you're 18 tonight. It's your life now, your choice. I lift my eyes to his. Yes, you're right, I say. And if that voice and everything really recorded earlier, that could mean something big for me, Seth. It could? How? I've had a few conversations with the owners of a competing network. They might be interested in a show like my dad had back in the day. They said if I can come to them with some solid evidence that I can see ghosts the way my dad could, they'd think about giving me a trial run at my own show. I can hardly believe it when the words come spilling out of me. If Trina finds out about this, she'll kill my deal before it even starts. I shouldn't even be telling you this stuff, I say, standing up and wiping the tears from my cheeks. I want to hear about it, he says. I just wish I could help you. I must sound like a real wimp, I say, trying to laugh it off. It's really not so bad, and you're right. I'm almost free of her anyway. Seth looks around the room, his eyes finally landing on the camera at my feet. Does that thing have a timer on it? He asks. Of course. Why? I want to get a picture of us together so we'll never forget tonight, he says. I try to hide my smile as I set the camera up on the other side of the room. This night has meant the world to me, and it means even more that he feels the same way. I set the timer and run to his side. Seth puts an arm around me, and when his skin touches mine, it sends a chill down my spine. I look over at him just as the picture snaps. Every time he touches me, there's a rush of undeniable energy. I've never felt anything like it before, and I can't fully make sense of it. He glances toward the window, where the slightest hint of dawn is coming up on the horizon. Ella, I know we've only been together for a few hours, but I want you to know something very important, he says, slipping his arms around me. You're trembling, I say, fear pulsing through me for reasons I can't explain. This night has meant everything to me, he says, and I can tell from the expression deep in his eyes that he means it. It's meant a lot to me too, I whisper. No matter what else happens, I want you to know that I never meant to lie to you, he says. I would never want to do anything that would cause you pain, Ella. If I could, I would make sure you were happy for the rest of your life. I shake my head, confused. What are you talking about? I ask. What lie? He glances at the window again as a sliver of early morning sunlight breaks through the clouds. He closes his eyes and presses his forehead against mine. He's ice cold. I'm sorry, he whispers. I have to go, Ella. I'll try to find you again. I promise. I don't understand, I say, reaching up to grip his hand. He's so cold, and it sends shivers down my spine. What's happening? I ask him. As I speak, my breath turns to frost. On the other side of the room, the door slams shut, and I jump, turning toward the sound. On instinct, I rush for the thermal cam and the EMF meter. There has to be a ghost nearby. That's why we're both so cold. But when I turn to explain it to Seth and ask him to follow me, he's gone. Episode 6, or Chapter 6, The Best Birthday Gift. Confused, I make my way back down to the base camp on the first floor. Why did he leave so suddenly? It doesn't make any sense. Did I do something wrong? In a daze, I approach the entryway where Kenneth and the team are breaking everything down from the night before. He catches sight of me and shakes his head. I don't think I can save you this time. Where the hell have you been all night? He asks. Trina is angrier than I've ever seen her after what you did. I've been trying to reach you on the walkies for hours. We sent 3 people out to search for you. Walkies, I ask, shaking my head. My batteries died early in the night. That's impossible. Those batteries were brand new, he says. The only way that could have happened. Kenneth gets still and studies my face. Ella, what happened to you tonight? He asks, taking my hands. You're shivering. Are you okay? I don't know, I say. I can't explain it. There you are, you horrible girl. Trina's shrill voice echoes through the entryway. You had a single job to do tonight and you screwed it up royally. My entire night with Roger Cruz was ruined because of you. What do you mean? I ask. I did exactly what she told me to do. Hello, Drew says, coming up behind her mother, sticking her hip out. You were supposed to babysit Seth tonight. It was literally the only thing you needed to do. Yeah, you are totally the worst ever, Anna says, putting a hand on her sister's shoulder. Seth ended up following us around all night like a lost puppy. He was the most annoying person ever, and he made the entire broadcast awkward and boring. Our ratings are going to tank after this. Trina steps forward and reaches for my arm, but I slip around her as something in the next room catches my eye. I don't know what game you're playing, young lady, but you're going to stop it right this minute, Trina says. Consider your life mine for the next 3 months until graduation. You can't go out. You can't. She keeps talking, but I suddenly can't hear her at all. Instead, my heart is thundering so loud in my ears it blocks out all other sound. Trembling, I walk into the parlor and stare up at the family portrait hanging over the giant stone fireplace. Suddenly, the entire night makes sense to me. There, on the left side of the painting, standing next to his sister Jennifer, is a young man who lost his life in this house more than 100 years ago when his abusive father lost his mind and killed all the party guests at his mother's birthday ball. "What's she doing, Mother?" Drew yells. "She's scaring me." "Yeah, she's gone mental," Anna says. "Make her stop." "Ella, you'll stop this right now," Trina says, but there's less conviction in her tone than normal. My behavior has her spooked, most likely, but I can't be bothered with her right now. Everything in my life has just changed overnight. "What is it?" Kenneth asks. "Charlie Prince," I say. No wonder I thought I recognized him when we first met. That was the lie he'd apologized for upstairs. His name wasn't Seth. He was Charles Thomas Prince, the eldest son of a family that had once been like royalty in this state. I reach inside my bag for my camera and quickly pull up the most recent photo. But when I find it, I'm brought to my knees. The camera has captured us perfectly. My head is turned to the right, a dreamy look on my face as I stare at the misty figure of a man standing next to me. I smile. "Thank you," I whisper, even though I'm not sure he can hear me anymore. Charlie Prince's ghost has just given me the best birthday gift I could have asked for, the proof I need to start my own show and to finally be free. Dun, da, da, da. Yay! Thank you guys so much for listening to Ella and the Haunted House. What did you think? Hopefully you liked it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. So I was going to mention something about this at the beginning of the story, but I'm glad I forgot because it kind of makes for a good story kind of at the end of it. But when I first started, like when they first said, "Oh, we're going to do these these stories that are ghost stories," I thought, okay, I want to have Cinderella because I immediately had this fun idea of like Cinderella ghost hunter kind of thing, like ghost obsession. Somebody was saying that they were listening or watching yesterday. And I thought, wouldn't that be kind of a fun thing? And instead of it being Cinderella who disappears and you have to search for her, it's actually Prince Charming who disappears, that she would have to go looking for him, later or whatever. I couldn't quite get like a glass slipper in there. So in a way, figuratively, the picture itself is sort of the glass slipper in a way. But I started writing it and I started realizing that even though I sort of pride myself on the journey of how can I make sure that nobody sees this twist coming? Because so often when I'm reading books, mysteries and different things, that's my favorite thing, and TV shows and movies and stuff. I love it when I can't see a twist coming, when I can't guess it. So I try to do that as much as possible in my regular books. But when I started writing this, I started thinking, there's no way for me to tell this story and really get the chills and the ghost feeling of it without kind of making it easy to guess right from the start that he is a ghost. So I specifically was playing around with this idea as the writer, as the creator of, can I tell a story where the reader is going to guess the twist, so to speak, really early on and still make the twist exciting and meaningful. So that was like a big part of this story for me just as a creative exercise of like, can I still make that moment of revealing the truth meaningful and exciting and fun, even though you already knew it was coming? So it's up to you as the reader to tell me, to tell yourself or to decide if you think it was still satisfying, even though you knew the ending that was coming or not. But I think that one of the best things that we can do as writers is continue to challenge ourselves. So, things that I love to do as a writer are, can I trick people? Can I give them clues, but also twist the story where they don't see it coming? Can I, in this case, write a story where the twist? I mean, right there from the beginning, you set it up and maybe you're asking yourself, maybe this is still the guy, but I leave you clues. Obviously, it was cold in the room when she first sees him. At first, she didn't see him. He's obviously surprised that she can see him and talk to her. Even when they first shake hands or whatever, he's like, I don't know about this. And then, of course, he shocks her. He's draining her equipment all night. So the clues are all there. But could I pull off still a meaningful twist at the end, even though you saw it coming? So I'm glad to see some people do say that, it still became meaningful or still meant something to you, or you still got chills, even though you knew what the ending was going to be to a degree. Another thing that I think is one of the most fun things to do as a writer that I'm always playing with is, can I take a character that you hate or that you don't like and make them someone that you do like? So this is something that I've played around with, and I won't say exactly how, but I've played around with it in the Shadow Demon Saga in the last few books. I've also played around with it in my Fairhope series, because you've got this girl, Bailey, that a lot of people really did not like from the first book because of her behavior. But then I wrote a book about her, and a lot of people were like, oh no, I love her now. And also in the Shadow Demon Saga, there's a character called Leah that a lot of people did not like at first that now they love. So I love playing around with that idea of like turning characters around too, that it's like, oh, let's see if I can make you love them when you thought you didn't. And I think that all of those kind of things are part of what makes writing fun, and hopefully part of reading fun too. Sorry, now I can't read that because I don't have my glasses on. I'm like trying to read the comments. It was great, even though you could see it coming. I thought Seth was the ghost of her dad. Oh no. Yeah. So I think that I could have probably given a little bit more clues, but I tried to set it up in the beginning that she's looking at this family portrait, so that maybe you could think about it. But also, it's like somebody was saying, "Oh, I want more about it," and it's like, "Oh, I wish that I could tell a whole series about this, because then I could make it where she's on a search to." Actually be able to see if her father is a ghost. And I thought about adding some stuff in about the ghost of her father, like maybe Seth had talked, or not Seth, but Charlie had talked to her father at some point, but it's just, it's a short story. So it's all that you could do. I know she fell in love and can't be with him. I know that's so sad. And so I'm like, oh, maybe if there would be a way to do it as a series, but then I think that's the challenge of doing it when you have a ghost character, is like, how could they ever really be together unless she dies, or unless they were able to only see each other? Because he definitely was someone who is stuck in the night for some reason that we don't actually get to find out about why. But yeah, it's interesting. I couldn't wait to see how you did the classic tale tie-in. Yeah, I think it was kind of a fun way to do a little bit of Cinderella, but you've got he has to leave the way that Cinderella has to leave, and then the thing left behind is the photograph. But we don't get to see the rest of the story. There's no happily ever after necessarily in this short story, unfortunately. Sylvia says, I loved Leah from the start. I loved Leah from the start too, but a lot of people were like, oh, I hate her, and we won't go into why or who she is, because I don't want to do any spoilers for people who are reading it. But yeah, it's kind of fun to think about taking characters like that. I also love to take characters that are stereotypical, like the dumb blonde who's too stupid to live or whatever, that's like a stereotypical character, but then to take her and show that she's actually a human being and we're going to actually show what she's all about. or the bad boy that's like has a heart of gold, or, whatever it is. So yeah, what did his sister mean out at the pond though? So because it's a short story, there's just no answers to all of that stuff, but he does get scared. He gets visibly scared about it. And she tells him, you shouldn't be out here. And so part of what I think about that, like, even though it doesn't go into the short story, what I was thinking is kind of like, maybe his angry, abusive father is also still a ghost with them, because he did actually die that night too. And he would be upset if he saw his son down at the pond with a human. So it would be like, he's just going to continued to be, living in that cycle of abuse with his father. And I think that that's sort of what was in my mind. But of course, since it didn't go into the story, it would be up to you to decide. You did a great job bringing in a ghost important to the protagonist and did something amazing to help her. Yeah, just the fact that it's a ghost story tells us there's going to be a ghost. Yeah, so true, so true. All right, so tomorrow I will still be going live at 4 p.m. to do a live Q&A. So if you have not asked your question, Christabel posted a thread in the Coven group a couple of days ago. So there's that thread. I just posted a new one on my Facebook page and in my Instagram, on my Instagram at Sarra Cannon, as well as in the group. So there's lots of places to leave your questions. Tonight or tomorrow, George will be going in, and we'll be going in together and kind of choosing, because some of the questions will probably be the same. So we'll definitely go into that and pick as many questions as we can and answer as many as I can tomorrow. Dania says, will there be a part 2? No, I don't intend to write any more of the Cinderella story. It was just a short story. Baby time. She's still in her little PJs today, and she's chewing on something. You say hi? Is that you? So little baby, I hope they do a second anthology and you write part 2. Yeah, so we will be doing probably another anthology, because we do one every year. And it's always a different theme. So I'm probably not going to write any more of that one. The stories that I have done for these past ones, though, there may be more of those eventually. So Loxley may get its own series eventually. And, I don't know what shirt George was wearing. He took off. So there might be more Loxley eventually, and there might be more Red eventually. If I decide to do a Venom spinoff series, I will definitely do a Connery story. Say hi, everybody. Say hi, everybody. Dee, dee, dee. You're going to just giggle for us? Yeah, a little bit. So we are about to get in the car. We have not been, baby time. Yay. We are about to be in the car, and we have to go to, one of Andrew's classmates has a birthday today, and she did not have, she didn't get to have a birthday party. So we're just going to do a drive-by birthday party. Her mom said that she would be on the lawn from 5 to 5:30 today. And it's about a 15-minute drive for us. So we're going to quickly make some little happy birthday signs, get in the car, and just drive by her house and wave and honk the horn and stuff. So that'll be kind of fun. Little bit of thing. I also have been, like I said, recording a video today that is a kind of day in the life video. That's a vlog that'll go up hopefully on Sunday. And then we'll start back with the Witch's Key on Monday to finish it out. So I'll give you some more information on that tomorrow for sure, of which day I think it'll be, that'll be over. I got notified yesterday's live today. I was bummed you didn't post because I was late yesterday. So I watched a bunch of videos, and then I got this late notification of 2. Oh no. So I did post. I posted in the group yesterday. And a couple other places. I posted on Instagram and everywhere. So I don't know. I can't control YouTube's algorithms and stuff, but I'm going live every day. So if you just come to my page here on YouTube, hopefully you'll be able to see that I'm live. If anybody wants to pop in how you're seeing the the live, and it should, I don't know if you're just seeing it from location or just from the notification, but yeah, I did post in the group and on my Facebook page and on my Instagram that I would be going live at 4 to read the first part, but you can go back and watch it. But yeah, it'll be every day but Sunday for at least another week, and then I think we're going to go to Monday, Wednesday, Friday only. So all right, guys. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, she's definitely teething. She's got I'm just waiting for that tooth to pop through. So, the planner videos. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I can't control the notifications. So the best I can say is make sure you're notified, not just, for some notifications, but do the one that's for all notifications, and hope for the best. But other than that, just like set an alarm like people said, and just come to my actual YouTube channel and you should be able to see the live there. All right, you guys. Dun, 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 dun. That is it for Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We're going to go get everything ready and go see a little girl for her 8th birthday, and then maybe just come home and take a walk and get dinner and everything else. But I'm excited to talk with you tomorrow for a live chat Q&A. We probably will do maybe 45 minutes of Q&A. So I will see you guys there tomorrow, and feel free to ask me anything. I can't promise I'll answer every single thing if it's too personal, but feel free to ask anything you want to say, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye. Hope you enjoyed the story. Oh, there goes Andrew. You just had to pop in. All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Can they see us?